Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has finally acknowledged that President-elect Joe Biden is in fact the president-elect, something he avoided addressing ever since it became very clear that Biden was the winner of the general election. And so what's happening now that Mitch McConnell has agreed to reality, acknowledging reality? He's being called a traitor. He's specifically being called a traitor because of what he said in the video you're about to watch.
So as of this morning, our country has officially a president-elect and a vice president-elect. Many millions of us had hoped the presidential election would yield a different result. But our system of government has processes to determine who will be sworn in on January the 20th. The Electoral College has spoken. So today I want to congratulate President-elect Joe Biden. The President-elect is no stranger to the Senate. He's devoted himself to public service for many years. I also want to congratulate the Vice President-elect, our colleague from California, Senator Harris. Beyond our differences, all Americans can take pride that our nation has a female Vice President-elect for the very first time.
All right, so that was only the most reasonable statement I've heard from Mitch McConnell in probably ever. And he's not being overly complimentary to Democrats, certainly not overly complimentary to Joe Biden. But nonetheless, Trump supporters accuse the Kentucky senator of being a Republican in name only, also known as a rhino, and also part of the so-called deep state, while others made racist comments claiming that McConnell must be working for the Chinese government because his wife, Elaine Chao, is of Chinese descent. And I just want to give you a little taste of the kinds of tweets he's been dealing with. One person, Voting Red, writes and says, McConnell and his wife are on the China gravy train. Investigate his bank accounts, rhino. One MAGA World writes and says, Mitch McConnell doesn't care about our president or law and order or the integrity of our God-given freedom of democracy to vote. Pack up, Mitch. We will not support you. Hashtag buy Rhino Mitch. See, this is what happens when you empower lunatics in the country. This is what happens when you kowtow to someone like Donald Trump. It will come back to bite you, and that's exactly what's happening to people like Mitch McConnell.
So an old Republican and Fox News trick is to get minorities to say outrageous things about minorities and then hide behind them. And then when people accuse you rightfully of saying atrocious things and racist things, then you say, I can't be because I have a Chinese person here and I have a black and Latino person who said it so, or I have a gay person and a classic liberal who tells you that you should discriminate against people like him, etc. Right? But it's a trick in moments like this, right? So first of all, by the way, my wife is Chinese. I don't know where the Chinese, what do you call it? A China gravy train? I don't know where that is. I'm still looking forward to it. Still haven't found it. Okay, I've had a lot of dim sum and I haven't seen a gravy train at all yet. So anyways, but when it comes to them disagreeing with Mitch McConnell before, and I tell you this because if you don't know, Elaine Chao has been in Republican politics for a long, long time. And she's been in almost every cabinet. She's always transportation secretary, labor secretary, it goes on and on and on, right? And so back then they would say, we're not racist against Chinese people. We have Elaine Chao in our cabinet, right? Now they don't agree with Mitch McConnell. Elaine Chao, Chinese, China gravy train. I knew it. By the way, the thing that Anna read you is tip of the iceberg. You keep reading and it gets real racist real quick. I mean, nonstop talk about the Chinese. Because think about why, and this is really interesting, guys. Because for the conservatives, it's all about the others. Circle the wagons. Us white right-wing evangelical Christians are awesome. Everyone else is the others, right? But now Mitch McConnell is in that category, so they have to find a reason why he's the other. So then they find his wife and they're like, that's it. Chinese gravy train, that's what's happening here. He's part of the others. We now hate him, etc. So the only positive part of this, Anna, is that Frankenstein has arisen. and is now attacking its creators. So Donald Trump, created by the Republican Party and that toxic stew of racism they created through the Southern strategy and almost everything that they did in this country since then. And Fox News created Donald Trump. Now he's turned on Fox News and the Republicans, and he's ripping them to shreds. So I'm here for it, and I'm not here for their toxic behavior, even if it's against other Republicans. But if it costs them things like the Georgia election, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they have to really take a step back and consider what they've done in empowering this kind of thinking on the right. And the reason why, Republican voters immediately go to, oh, it's the others, is because they've been primed by Republican lawmakers for decades to blame everything that doesn't go their way on the others, some sort of foreign threat, immigrants, people who aren't exactly like them. That's the reason why things have turned out the way that they are not in favor of. And so this story really just epitomizes the chickens coming home to roost. And will Republican lawmakers learn from this? Probably not. And so that sets the stage for even more of this buffoonery moving forward. But again, this is what Mitch McConnell has empowered, even though he has fought pretty hard and succeeded in confirming many of Donald Trump's federal judges, literally hundreds of them. But apparently that's not good enough because he's not playing ball with Donald Trump's ridiculous notions regarding widespread voter fraud and how the election was stolen. It was not stolen. He had his chance to prove it dozens of times. The Trump campaign failed to do so. It's over. Call it a night. Take your ball. Go home. Let's move on.
Yeah, last two things here. This anti-Chinese conspiracy theory against Mitch McConnell is not new. Don Blankenship, running in West Virginia, ran ads talking about China persons behind Mitch McConnell and establishment Republicans. So the minute they have a chance, their go-to move, even with a guy who's a white right-winger from Kentucky, is racism. So they found a racist angle and they jump right into it. And then lastly, guys, we're covering the Georgia elections on January 5th. Part of the reason is because it's so monumentally important who controls the Senate, but also because we're gonna get to find out a great mystery. All of these attacks against the Republican Party by Donald Trump and his supporters, did it affect voter turnout? If it turns out that Perdue and Loeffler lose, and especially if they lose by a significant margin, oh my God, it's working. He's shredding the Republican Party. And if that's true, that's great news. If Republicans turn out and vote and they win those elections anyway, then I mean, it's good news, bad news. That means Trump doesn't have that much power. And this is a minority within the Republican Party and not the majority. I don't know. We'll find out on January 5th.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.